Please, ma'am, step away from the lawn gnome, or I'll have to disarm you, the HO security patrol barked. He was a retiree decked out in camo pants and a fishing hat, his hand twitching over a can of pepper spray like he was about to take down a threat to national security. Lisa stood frozen, gardening gloves on, pruning shears in one hand, and a tray of freshly baked muffins in the other. Her begonias weren't the enemy here. I watched from the porch, biting back a laugh. If this guy only knew Lisa used to train Navy SEALs to defuse bombs under enemy fire. But sure, let's escalate over a ceramic gnome. When we moved into this sleepy cul-de-sac, we thought we'd bought a ticket to tranquility. I'd just retired early from my IT consulting gig, and Lisa, who'd wrapped up her last Navy contract 2 years prior, was ready to embrace the Ivy-Wylian life. She'd been deployed more times than I could track, taught elite operatives everything from weapon systems to survival tactics, and came home with a handful of medals, a steely gaze, and an unexpected passion for baking that emerged after years of choking down MREs. Her new mission? Grow a vegetable garden, master blueberry scones, and erase the memory of military rations. Then the HOA swooped in. We barely unpacked when they struck. A woman named Janet, yes, that's her real name, showed up with a plastered-on smile and a binder thick enough to double as a doorstop. She called herself the Neighborhood Enhancement Coordinator, which I later decoded as HA speak for dictator with a clipboard. Lisa and VY ted her in for tea, ever polite. Janet declined and handed over a stack of rules so hefty it could have leveled a wobbly table. Lisa skimmed it, her face unreadable. I glimpsed a page about minimum mailbox cheerfulness ratios and knew we were in trouble. Janet's eyes flicked over Lisa's apron with a squint, not a neighborly one, but a slow, judgy once-over. Oh, so you don't work? Just a homemaker? She asked. I braced myself for Lisa's sharp wit or a flash of combat instincts, but she just smiled and said, something like that. Janet had no clue she just misjudged a titan. The next few days brought a drizzle of petty notes. Our trash bins were 2 inches too close to the curb. The American flag on our porch was too bold for aesthetic unity, according to one citation. Lisa laughed and swapped it for a monster flag featuring an eagle clutching a burger. Janet didn't take it well. By week 3, notices piled up like Lisa's cinnamon rolls on game night, garage door color. Too assertive. Wind chimes disruptive. And my favorite, lawn chairs that imply aggression. Lisa shrugged them off with a smirk, but I could sense a shift in her. Then came the summons to an HOA meeting, written like a subpoena and stamped with a DIY wax seal. I joked we should bring popcorn and wear shirts saying just a homemaker and her tech geek. Lisa didn't laugh. She stared at her hands that night, lost in some old memory. That's her still waters run deep. At the meeting, Janet had the chairs in a circle like a suburban seance. She launched into a speech about concerning patterns from new residents. Lisa sat quietly, hands folded, as Janet rambled about order and community VY. Some behaviors don't fit, Janet said, smirking. Like what? Lisa asked, voice steady. Janet faltered. Well, reports of tactical drills in the backyard. Camo gear. Shouting in code. Lisa blinked. That's me calling the dog in Swedish. Keeps him sharp. Janet pressed on. You intimidate people. Some feel unsafe. Lisa tilted her head. Unsafe because I wear boots to plant carrots? The room held its breath. Janet squirmed. It's your presence. Not very homemaker-like. That's when Lisa stood slow, calm, like she'd face worse than gossip. She pulled a folded paper from her bag and handed it to Janet. It was her Navy commendation, signed by the secretary. Janet's face drained of color. Before you judge my presence, Lisa said softly, know what I bring here. You see a homemaker. I see a neighborhood that could use real safety skills. If trouble comes, you'll want me around. Silence. Janet muttered about reviewing protocols and bolted. That night, Lisa grinned over iced tea. I'm building a scarecrow. Drill sergeant style. Let's see how they handle that. It started with the herbs. Lisa spent a Saturday planting rosemary, thyme, basil, and some funky purple variety that glowed in the sun. She was in her Elementson hat, earbuds, coaxing the plants like recruits. She even painted little wooden tags. I thought it was cute. The HOA saw it as a war cry. At 7:42 a.m., 2 compliance officers showed up with a laminated, unpermitted landscaping guide and a measuring wheel. Lisa leaned on the porch rail, coffee in hand, watching them like they were amateurs at a checkpoint. They cited Botanical Article 12E, no unapproved plants in walkway sightlines. You mean the time? She asked. They nodded. Do you know what you're doing? She said. Enforcing standards, ma'am, one replied. Lisa sipped her coffee. Better check Geneva for those, she muttered, and walked inside. 2 days later, we found the garden trash plants ripped up. Stakes snapped. Lisa crouched by the ruined basil, silent. I moved to comfort her, but she stopped me. They want a reaction, she said. They'll get one of me way. What followed was genius. First, the scarecrow Major Green, decked in her old Navy uniform, sunglasses, and a do not approach sign. Then a chalkboard with daily tactical tips, some tame, check your blind spots, some not, confirm target before engaging. Janet called an emergency meeting. Lisa sent lemon scones and a note. On perimeter duty. Enjoy. Janet's next move? A camera aimed at our levying room. She called it safety. Lisa stared at it, then hit the garage. That night, in full Navy gear, she did tactical stretches in VW, holding signs. Nice try, Janet, and next up, night VY Shaun. A cop Tom, her old trainee, showed up the next day, laughing. She's clueless who she's up against. He took Lisa's footage of the illegal camera. It was gone in 24 hours. Janet doubled down with an emergency review, demanding Lisa face the board. Lisa arrived in a pastel sweater, ponytail perfect, with red velvet cupcakes topped with tactical sprinkles. Janet ranted about intimidation and foreign shouting. Lisa smiled. Swedish. For the dog? A board member asked about her past. I taught SEALs close quarters combat, FBI non-lethal takedowns, that sort of thing. Janet choked. Lisa placed a cupcake in front of her. Let's keep this peaceful. She left. Neighbors started asking her for tips. Someone dropped off old throwing knives with a note. Figured you'd know. Janet grew obsessive, tampering with our mail and sending drones over our yard. Lisa burned a typed note, we know who you are, and set up her old tactical camera. When Janet's newsletter smeared her as a paramilitary threat, Lisa waited for the HOA safety fair. Janet hired a gym bro for a self-defense demo. Lisa attended, casual in jeans. The guy botched it, then challenged her. She disarmed him in seconds, pinned him gently, and smiled. The crowd cheered. Janet stormed off. Lisa mused, she's desperate. Her mistake's coming. It hit fast. Janet filed a lawsuit: public misconduct, emotional distress, tactical maneuvers. She spread copies everywhere, breaking laws. Lisa called her JAG friend, Sarah, who filed a brutal countersuit: defamation, privacy invasion, HA fund misuse. Lisa dug deeper, exposing Janet's fraud to the treasurer, Mr. Coleman. He launched an audit, toppling Janet's allies. Then whispers of Janet's husband's illegal basement stockpile explosives. Pepper spray reached Lisa. She tipped the ATF quietly. At the final meeting, Lisa's presentation mails, budgets, footage nailed Janet. A live feed showed ATF agents at her house. Janet was ousted, her husband detained. Lisa popped a candy and sat back. The neighborhood healed. Janet's house sat quiet, her reign over. Lisa declined HOA leadership but got a consulting offer from Fed's tactical workshops. She took it part-time, still baking and gardening. At a block party, a new neighbor, ex-Air Force, swapped stories with her. Peace returned, not passive but earned. Lisa smiled at me one night. Safety's not a gift. It's a fight. And she'd won it her way.